There's nothing worse than earthquakes and buildings falling, so.
Pawnee, Oklahoma credits Pawnee Bill for putting the town on the map. But there's another reason this place stands out. The largest earthquake in Oklahoma history happened here in 2016.
It sounded like a freight train coming, basically, is what I thought, just kind of that loud roaring, like a rumbling almost, really.
Amy Hedges now owns the famous bank building where the facade fell.
You just don't forget these things. It just doesn't feel like anything you've ever felt before. We have a train a half mile away. It doesn't feel like that at all.
Andrew Apgar says before the big earthquake on September 3rd, there were many other smaller shakes.
They were happening about every 2-3 days, small ones.
For people living here in Pawnee, earthquakes were almost unheard of until the mid-2000s when they became the new normal and no one knew why.
By 2014, I took office in 2011. By 2014, we started having earthquakes. I thought, not another major natural disaster occurring, and why is it occurring on my watch?
And what was causing this massive increase in earthquakes? Former Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin says she didn't have the answer at the time.
Well, yeah, it was an emotional issue, especially for homeowners and families and people who are just scared. It worried me too.
Do you know who Austin Holland is?
Do you know the name Austin Holland?
I don't, no.
Don't recognize it at all?
No.
Do you know who Austin Holland is?
I sure do. Austin was our head of our geological survey back when I was in office, so I met with him many, many times.
Starting from the left is Representative Jason Murphy from District 31 here in Oklahoma. Next is Austin Holland. He's a geologist with the University of Oklahoma.
Austin Holland may not be a household name, but he's the man who stopped the earth from shaking.
It appears quite likely that most of the seismicity that we're seeing within northern and north central Oklahoma is most likely due to this wastewater disposal.
In fairly short order, Holland went from the relative obscurity of a respected state scientist to being the prime target of angry critics on the side of Oklahoma's energy industry.
With the increased frequency of earthquakes, we're more likely to have an earthquake of greater magnitude, potentially another damaging earthquake.
5 months from this town hall meeting on March 19th, 2015, Holland would quit his job of 5 years as a state seismologist and leave Oklahoma for good.
And I think it was a hard time for Austin Holland originally when he was at the university because it was new on his clock too.
Part of what he faced is recorded in a deposition Holland gave for a 2015 lawsuit filed by an earthquake victim suing various oil companies. The document is now part of a sealed case, but we've obtained excerpts from the Norman Transcript, a newspaper that published the deposition in 2017. In the deposition, Holland testified that he began to feel increasing pressure by university officials to stop linking wastewater injection to earthquakes, telling lawyers his words were edited by the dean at the time. Holland says he knew it was time to go in February of 2015 when he published a peer-reviewed article that linked wastewater injections to earthquakes. Unacceptable. That's what the dean of the college called Holland's paper, according to his testimony. The conversation was so bad, Holland testified he wished he had recorded it.
And I know that as a result of that, I know that he received, or at least I understand that he received quite a bit of pressure from different sources. And, in almost thanks to Austin fought that battle so that, in my role, I don't have to fight the battle of is this occurring or not.
Dr. Jacob Walter has Holland's old job at the Geological Survey. Holland lives and works in New Mexico. He respectfully declined our request for an interview and hasn't had anything to do with Oklahoma since leaving here 4 years ago. Now, what was so controversial and questioned is accepted as fact.
There's a broad, gradual acceptance that wastewater disposal is producing earthquakes in the state.
Nope, I haven't felt one in months.
Back in Pawnee, the 5.8 magnitude earthquake is a memory.
I ran outside and he was like, "What are you talking about?" So he didn't feel it, but I did. It scared me to death.
And also a trigger for some who start to feel the earth shake again. Maureen Wirtz, Tulsa's Channel 8.